really what comes down to at the beginning of the process really is customer service. And whether a founder or CEO likes it or not, you're going to have to be the customer service person for probably the first few years. And I see this mistake too often where people, they have the attitude that they're above it, they hand it off. And maybe it's somebody that can do a fine job, but it's really not good enough, because as CEO, you need to be not just building relationships with people and treat them like people, but get to know them, get to know their pain points, what they're focused on. And you collect a database of like a lot of the pain points and questions, and you just simply make content against that.
Welcome into Future Fuzz, the digital marketing podcast. I'm Vince Quinn, and today we're talking about building trust through content. And joining us for that conversation is Sean Tepper. Sean is the founder and CEO of Tykr, as well as the host of the Top Stocks podcast. Sean, welcome to Future Fuzz.
Vince, thanks for the invite. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and you've got the professional podcaster setup, by the way. I mean, the lighting is right, the microphone looks good, the camera's on point, the books in the background. Like, we have similar backgrounds in a sense. It's very fun.
Yeah, I think that there's a tutorial out there on how to look like a legit podcast host or guest. I think we're kind of checking all the boxes.
So yeah, if you're looking for a good setup, go to YouTube. Watch this on YouTube if you're not currently. That's the call to action today. So let's just get to some of the basics first, Sean. So before we really dive into it, just give people a little bit of a background of what Tykr is.
Yeah, I'll keep it really quick on my background here, 30 seconds or less for good context. But my background is about 20 years in tech, 15 years investing, and I put the two together after some frustrations of investing in the stock market on my own between 2010 and 15. And I, with a little help from Warren Buffett, the late Charlie Munger, and a guy by the name of Phil Town, I kind of extracted some of the math they used to pick stocks, because I knew they're not gambling men, to find market-beating stocks. So yeah, I created an Excel sheet. I then tested my own money with it for the next 4 or 5 years, beating the market, making returns between 15 and 50%. And then in 2019, things kind of came to a head. I started sharing this Excel sheet with a few people, and everybody's like, hey, you should turn this into a software to share with others. And that was my green light. At this point, it was 10 years I was looking for a good SaaS idea, and I could not really find one with low competition. But this one, definitely I could see the need, low competition. Took a year to build. We went live in 2020, and then fast forward to today, we have over 12,000 customers in about 50 countries. So yeah, our model is real easy. We help people invest in the stock market. So you should still use, whether it's Robinhood or Schwab or Fidelity, to connect your bank account and buy and sell stocks. We are the tool that provides all the analytics and education, and we keep it really simple. Our rating system is inspired by the traffic light. So I know that was longer than 30 seconds.
Yeah, I was like, should I tell him it was longer than 30 seconds? I don't know. But no, that was it. It was an appropriate length, though. I think 30 seconds would have been too short. So yeah. But that's the thing, though. And because you mentioned the education aspect, and that was the thing that really blew me away when I looked at the site. Because first off, you have a tab that says education. So it's literally right, it's right there. And then going down this list, this is the real main thing for today. I mean, investing tips, investing blogs, stock reviews, which is a blog, stock reviews is videos, courses, calculations, how-to videos, downloadable things, and you have your podcast as well. So that's a lot of stuff, man. You are making so much content. So what was your reason to go into this degree with the education?
Yeah, that was the problem I faced when I was a beginner. When I got started, it's where's the simplified education? The basic questions, and a lot of people ask is where do I start? What do I buy? What do I sell? Or when do I buy? When do I sell? Finding those answers is nearly impossible for a lot of our competition. And so that's why let's keep everything in one clean location, as you can see. And really walk people through. I won't go into detail of each tab, but the investing tips, you can read them in one go. We phrase it as you can binge read them. It's we all love binge watching Netflix shows, but it's all right, so you're going to get a new email every day over 30 days teaching you where do you start? When do you buy? When do you sell? How many stocks should you hold? But then we tell people, oh, you can just go to the investing tips. You can read it in one binge session. So it's all about education is key, but making it really easy to understand, get rid of the $20 words that nobody cares about, which drives me nuts in the world of finance, stuff like that.
Yeah, but it's so cool too because, like you said, I mean, that's newsletter, right? So you're emailing people every day, but they can also read it in one spot. You do have blog posts, you do have video, you do have audio. So like, you're hitting people from every single angle with this information, and like it's just such an impressive thing to do because you're a part of all of it. Like just seeing all the mountain of all of this stuff that you've put out. So like, I mean, to make this kind of commitment. I think about a couple of things, right? I mean, one is just the trust, right? Like how much trust have you built with people and what does that look like when you're creating this kind of educational content?
Yeah, when I first started, and now we're 5 years old, so this is like, again, 5 years of content built up, but I knew off the bat, like, and I really like writing. I'm a rarity there, but so I started every week for the first 2 or 3 years, I would write a stock review, and they're pretty thorough. And I committed to that every week. I'm going to do a deep dive of whatever stock it is. And I'd usually ask customers like, hey, what do you want me to review next? So, and that built trust, it built relationships, especially when, like, let's say it's John Doe or Jane Doe is like, hey, can you take a look at XYZ stock? And sometimes I've never heard of it. So it's kind of exciting for me. But then when I get done, we're not an individual service business, but we kind of treat it that way in this case. It's like, hey, thanks for that recommendation. Here's the article, but then we share it with everybody. And that builds trust. It builds a community. It's little things like that. You wouldn't think it goes a long way, but it does. Like I won't go into too much detail, but like when we talk to people, we talk to them like real people. We're not like corporate speak, help desk. We'll maybe get back to you like in a week. It's like, keep up the good work. Go get them. It's like I'm a sports guy. It's like you've got this. So it's a lot of that language, and I teach my team to do the same thing. That kind of flows through all of our content because it makes it more real. It doesn't make it like, again, corporate speak.
Yeah, which I think is a real big problem, right? Because so many people are focused when it comes to all this content, like, hey, we just need to get stuff out. Like as long as we're hitting certain quotas and it looks nice enough. That's really the goal. So we're doing those things, but as much as things are changing, because they're changing all the time, like to be able to sort of pierce that veil of we're not just some business, like we are people in this business, and we are the actual people that are here to serve you and help you. I think a lot of people miss that disconnect, and that's part of what I think is really special about what you're doing. Like it all just feels genuine, it's hard to do.
They say, you should take your hobby and make it a business. And that's kind of what I did. It's like, all right, so I wanted to invest on my own and I really like it. And then I found out, okay, so I'm pretty good at it. And I can help other people become really, really good at it. So it's like, let's just do that. Rinse and repeat every day. So whether it's video, writing, and all the video content, we can talk about this if you want, but repurposing, you take one bit of content, you can repurpose in another way. So it's like a multiple effect. You do the effort once, but multiply it by 3, an equation like that.
Yeah. So let's talk about that a little bit, because from some of our conversations so far, even before the show, like what I really got out of you is you are a process guy. Like you have a really regimented system for doing things. So when it comes to repurposing, then what is your process there? What does that look like for maxing out the content?
Yeah. So we really front load our week so we can take off on Fridays. Like we're an organization, we try not to work on Fridays. In fact, I tell my team, like, I'm going to play golf. I do not want you working. If you work, don't tell me, so I'm the boss. That's like the opposite of like, you need to do that PowerPoint down on a Sunday night. Like, no, I want you with your family. But yeah, Mondays, we really front load. We come out of the gates with like a freight train and we're like, all right, we get our engineering team meeting right away in the morning. And then right after that is the media team meeting. We use Google Sheets. And in the column, like we've got all the different videos we want to create. Then we show where it's at in the process, whether it's pre-production writing, has it been shot, has it been handed off to the editing team, has it been uploaded to Google Drive, like all the content. And there's all these boxes you check, and we conditional logic in Google, it's like when you check something, okay, it turns green. So it kind of gamifies the process, so it's not so boring. And that way we know, like, all right, what are we working on? What do we need to do? Where are we at in the process? What's being deployed this week? And we can literally get through everything in 20 minutes, but we'll spend like an hour just talking through ideas and getting creative. We're all movie nerds. We'll talk about first, most important, what movies or TV shows did we watch over the weekend? But anyway, it's fun, but it's very process driven, and that keeps us on point. And then we divide and conquer and use Slack the rest of the week. And then what we do is the video content is always repurposed for the podcast, and we host on Anchor, which deploys to every platform out there. We take the video content, we run it through like Happy Scribe, which is a transcribing tool, and we repurpose that for LinkedIn and other social media posts. And that's kind of that. And it's really easy. We got different people, and they kind of they focus on their skill and rinse and repeat. Don't just be good at multiple things, be great at one thing. And that we really hammer on that. So yeah, it's like come out of the gates on Monday, front load your week, track everything with Google Sheets, communicate with Slack, and rinse and repeat week after week. And you do that not just 1 week or 1 month, but over several months, you can put out a ton of content. It kind of compounds.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And then when you think over time of like, okay, well, what are some of our best hits? Hey, this video did really good. It's still relevant. Let's go back to that. And it did well as a post. It also did well as a video. Great. Can we make more content like this? Maybe it's an idea that we did before and didn't do, right? Like there's all that self-scouting that you get to do because you've made mountains of it. It really does make it easier to figure out what people actually want to hear.
Totally. And then the more content you put out and the more you look at the analytics and even talk to customers, you become hypersensitive to like if this person asks this question and another person asks the same question, it's like, all right, you see the commonalities. All right, we need to create a video on that. And so you hit the pain points or the questions or what are people looking for most. And of course, that is, you get a lot more searches and a lot more activity that way.
Yeah. So, I mean, how do you collect that info? Because let's say, all right, I'm a CEO, I'm a CMO, I'm like working on this business, and I want to incorporate more of that feedback, the things that I'm seeing from people, common questions, and get that into the content. How do you guys process that information to do that?
Yeah, so really what comes down to at the beginning of the process really is customer service, and whether a founder or CEO likes it or not, you're going to have to be the customer service person for probably the first few years. And I see this mistake too often where people, they have the attitude that they're above it, they hand it off, and maybe it's somebody that can do a fine job, but it's really not good enough because as CEO, you need to be not just building relationships with people and treat them like people, but get to know them, get to know their pain points, what they're focused on. And you collect a database of like a lot of the pain points and questions, and you just simply make content against that because there's a rule out there I learned. I call it the 10% rule, which is if one person complains about it, that's only 10%. There's another 90% that are having the same pain, but they're not saying anything. So if you got 10 people that reach out to you, there are another 90 that have the same pain. Or if you have 100 people, there are another 900 that have the same pain, but they're staying silent. So that's why you need to get that content out there. And we found, as you could probably agree, video and audio are a bit better than reading for most people, not everybody, but because you can take the content and compress it. Whereas I won't go into detail here. We have people that are blind and they use screen readers. So they have asked to, hey, can you put it into written format so they can actually consume the content with a screen reader or, whatever mechanism or tool they're using. But it's stuff like that you learn, like, don't just put out the content, but listen to your customers and put out quality content and then try to serve everybody if people, if they can't read or they can't see, that's fine. You get where I'm going, but it's like you want to make it accessible. That's the word. There we go.
Yeah,
accessible for everybody.
And you see, like, and for you listening, like you can see how all of this ties together. Because the cool thing is, it's like, okay, here's a common question that people have or an issue that they have. We've now addressed that in the content, which means that for anybody else that comes through the pipeline later and encounters you, you're naturally already ahead of them. You're reading their mind and answering those questions, right?
And that ties back to trust. Like if you can be preemptive with like, oh, you probably have this question, this, guess what? We've got all the answers right in a row laid out for you. And right away, that's a time saver. It's like you're reading people's minds. So they're attached to your brand. Like you want to be on that. So that's why customer service and content creation kind of go hand in hand. And again, people, I had to get rid. We could talk about hiring mistakes because that was one of my downfalls, is hiring fast when I should have been hiring slow. And I would bring on people that were the whole Steve Jobs mentality, is the customer doesn't know what they want. And we have to tell the customer what to do. It's like, no, the customer knows what they want, and we have to listen to them. We are here to serve them.
Yeah.
Right.
Future Fuzz is sponsored by SalesSource, B2B pipeline management and sales growth for your business.
So yeah, I mean, it's a big thing. So to be able to get the content that way and be like, yeah, this is it. Like, yeah, you're trying to get acclimated, because for you too, like the thing is, I mean, it's financial, right? Like you're talking about money. And so to get people to engage with all of this, it is a deeply personal thing. Yeah. And so, you know, the trust that you have to earn is really important. And so when all of that piles up, or again and again and again, everywhere they're looking, they're just getting information. It's good information. It's in a voice that they understand, and it's questions that they might have thought, but are now, they didn't get the chance to think it because you already answered it. And so, yeah, how much easier that gets then when you're promoting the business and getting all these posts up, making all these videos on the sales side too, right? Like as you're encountering people who might be like either interested and talking to somebody in the business, like, hey, I'm interested in signing up for this. Yeah, well, here's this video. It's going to answer all these questions you have about this thing, right? Yeah. Like, and retention as well, I would figure. I mean, how can it not help with retention for people to like, and we haven't really even explored this, just like platform usage, right? Because you make content just about how Tykr works.
Right. Yeah. I won't go into too much detail here, but there's multiple types of videos you can make. And YouTube is one of our lead gen sources. In fact, it's 17%. But there's different strategies you can go at with YouTube. You can go for the vanity metrics, which is like in my world, if I were to create a video on, let's say it's and I do this every once in a while, just give updates on tariff negotiations, which are not as hot as they were a few months ago, but I could create a video on that. That'll get a ton of clicks, but does it really provide value to the customer? And there's other people that'll do a video on like whether they think Bitcoin is going to $150,000. Again, that's going to get a ton of clicks, but it doesn't solve their problem. So we tend to create content that is more, you're going to get a lot less clicks, but it's higher value. And I committed to that from the beginning. It's the long game. It's like, I want customers getting the content they need to become the best investor, not the video that's going to get 50,000 clicks in 2 days, because in a week it's going to be forgotten, but you can brag to people on social media, I got 50, that doesn't do anything. So we think about the long game and creating quality content with lower clicks, which is okay with us.
Yeah. Now, I want to go back a little bit because you said something earlier that I thought was pretty interesting. So talking about your content and repurposing, you said that you're doing video, and that's really the start of it. But you said that you repurpose it into the podcast. So is YouTube first then? Is it like this is a YouTube video that then is also a podcast?
Correct. Yeah. The reason is we've had people say, hey, Sean, can you create content for when I'm driving or when I'm doing something where I can't look at a screen? Like, could you do an audio version? I'm like, why don't I just turn it into a podcast? They're like, oh yeah, you should just take the same video content, just make it a podcast, and then we can just go to the podcast. Like, well, that's easy. So, right? There's an example of like listening to the customer. What do you want? And I tell my team, just lift and shift. Take that audio, move it right over to Anchor, and then Anchor deploys to all the platforms out there. So yeah, it's pretty simple.
Yeah. And I mean, when you're thinking about the video first element of it, that's really where it needs to be. I mean, for the number of people that I've talked to, because I talk to a lot of different business owners that have podcasts, and you know what, like it's like I'm having a hard time getting engagement on the show, and they've got an audio only show. And so it's like, well, nobody's going to engage with you on Instagram. They're not going to be interested in those clips on LinkedIn. You can't even post it on YouTube, really. Like there's no point in posting audiograms on YouTube as shorts. No. So it's just like, it's such a different game. So to start first of like, okay, what is a great YouTube bit of content? Like, how are we getting, because podcast is such a vague term anyway now. It doesn't really mean much. So what is this good video content? How do we get that and make it audio as well, and make it good posts and clips and, newsletters and everything? Like, it just falls in line so naturally. But I love that you do YouTube first.
Yeah, video first, and then everything trickles downstream thereafter.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit then just about, because there are people who are CEOs and they're like, yeah, I don't know if I want to get in front of the camera myself. You just rolled your eyes. Okay. And for people who are listening, Sean just rolled his eyes so hard, and that was
severely
fantastic. Yeah,
eye roll.
That was great. Okay, explain that eye roll to me.
Okay, so I remember this was years ago. There's certain gurus, and I'm not one of those guys that I'm all in on XYZ guru, but I do like to hear what they say, because there are bits of information like Alex Hormozy, Gary Vaynerchuk. Another guy in the health space is Yuri Elkaim, and he made a comment years ago that he's like, if you're a CEO, whether you like it or not, you have to be front and center with content. The reason is, this isn't 1975. And I like him because he's so straightforward. He didn't use the year 1975. They didn't have internet back then. So yeah, you could be the CEO calling the shots in your corner office and telling everybody what to do. That's not how businesses grow today. Businesses grow because of trust. When you shop on Amazon, guess what? The first thing you look at? The ratings and reviews, right? It's like the first thing you look for. Well, these days you want to know who's behind the scenes, who's the leader, what are they saying? Can I trust this person? So whether you like it or not, you have to have a YouTube channel, you have to have a podcast. And I know people don't get excited about that. And sure, you can build a business without it, but it's going to make your life easier, because that's how people consume content. That's how people shop.
100%. And I actually saw something just yesterday, and I'm not going to say the exact numbers because I would butcher them, but
sure.
the basic idea was that people tend to trust content more from a personal employee level more than they do on a brand level. And that tells you a lot of that feeling, right? It's they want to see a person, and they want to see somebody they recognize regularly that is speaking, because it's easier to connect with that human. I talked earlier about piercing the veil of being this business.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of what this is. It's, okay, you are a CEO. Great. So who are you, and what are you about, and what makes you different, and what is the culture you've built, and what is the vision that you see that defines this company? It's such a value. And where I think a lot of this value comes to is it's that thought leadership and opportunities you get from that. I mean, to have other executives be like, we should invite this guy to our conference. You know what I mean? Like, hey, getting featured speaker gigs and working on your messaging internally because you're getting to speak about it publicly on a show. Like, you just get so much refinement and exposure and opportunity all from putting yourself out there. And yeah, not everybody's willing to do it. I think it's a big miss.
Yeah. You nailed it. Big miss is key. I see too many people. I go to a lot of tech entrepreneur events or investor events, and I'll ask people what are you doing with media? How are you getting out? Well, I've been thinking about it. Don't think about it. Do it. And this background here, I went through several, iterations, and it was not pretty at the beginning. And did it stop me? No. I'm going to put out the content. At the end of the day, people don't care about the guitar in the background. They care about what I have to say, right?
Well, I care. I asked you before the show. So yes, I care because there's a guitar behind me.
Right. It has. That's funny you say that, though. There are little nuances that people see something. There's immediate connection to that person because, oh, I'm a musician, or, there's other details in the background. I've got Superman and action figures and whatnot. So people are like, yeah, you're a nerd. I'm like, yeah, I am a nerd.
Yeah. And that is good stuff. Yeah, it is that personality. I've got an NES system behind me. So the original Nintendo.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's on the bookshelf behind me. So I did that very intentionally because I love that stuff. Yeah, see? That's what I'm talking about, Sean. So it's one of those things where you are showing that you are human. You're not just some business personality. And again, we get so caught up in that. It's hard to, at times, be natural, be authentic, talk in a way that people are used to hearing you speak. It's always like, well, I'm in this corporate environment now. I really need to button up, but that's not where anything has trended. I mean, even just look at your general commercial these days, right? You'll have times on TV where, and this is television, where they're doing things that look super informal, influencer style videos, things shot like selfie style as if it was on a phone. I mean, it's just, in a lot of ways, people have scaled down and simplified a lot of the presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. The production value doesn't need to be $1 million. It's the times have changed and it's so easy these days. Like this camera I have here is a simple Sony that connects to my laptop. iPhone will do a great job. It's like your options out there are so easy. There's no excuse. It's as you circling back to what you said, it's a miss if you're not. So that's why there's time boxing, we call it, is like find something you need to do. Like I will time box an hour of content writing to create the outlines and I will shoot for an hour. So Mondays I'll carve out an hour. Tuesdays I will shoot for about an hour, maybe hour and a half. Hand off everything to the media team, and I don't touch it the rest of the week. It's all on their shoulders. And we do that rinse and repeat because that's one thing. It's not just being in front of the camera, but the CEO may be like, well, the time. It's like you need to shoot it, but hand it off and let all the editing and marketing, promotion, that should be in another team or person thereafter. That makes your life easier.
Yeah. And it's funny because a lot of people do exactly that. Yeah. Oh, the time, what am I going to do? Well, first off, it's set day and time. It's literally the number one thing I tell people constantly. If you're going to do this, have a set day and time that you record, make that simple and easy for yourself, and it's going to be a lot better for you. And then from there, it's really just... think about it's your marketing, right? Like everybody's like, oh, well, content, and it feels like this smaller and sometimes less significant, less valued thing. It's your marketing. So like you're not going to spend an hour on your marketing every single week. I mean, it's like, okay.
Do you want to be in business? Yeah. Like that's the question we're really asking.
That's it. Yeah. So it's when you boil it down that way, it feels silly, but it's so true. And people just don't always think of it like that. It's like this annoyance off in the distance that's, a trendy, buzzy, not a significant thing. And again, like everything that you're doing, just watching the business and all of the content you make, like you're just totally on it, man. So
thank you.
This has been a great conversation. And for everybody who wants to keep up with you, check out your content, check out Tykr. Where can they go?
I try to keep it easy. Go to Tykr.com, Tykr.com. That's one. Two would be go to my LinkedIn. I'm really active on LinkedIn. Great place to get a hold of me. Sean is spelled S-E-A-N, the Sean Connery way. First James Bond, if anybody's a fan out there. And then the third way, you can look up Tykr on YouTube, Tykr again. We just crossed 5,000 subs on YouTube. Look at us go.
All right. Yeah, that's good.
Getting somewhere.
You'd love to see it. All right. Well, let's add a few more. So go check out Tykr. And Sean, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate you being here.
Vince, appreciate the invite. Thanks.
Thanks for tuning in and making the choice to listen to this podcast. If you liked what you've heard today, please don't forget to subscribe.